Imagine this. What if you could build your very own team of AI experts to tackle any problem you could dream up? Well, that's pretty much the promise of Autogen. It's a revolutionary framework from Microsoft that's totally changing the game for AI automation by letting you create these amazing teams of agents that work together to solve really complex problems.
And look, this isn't just some small niche project that nobody's heard of. Autogen is incredibly popular. We're talking over 45,000 stars on GitHub. I mean, that is a huge vote of confidence from the developer community, and it's a massive signal that this is a technology you're going to want to pay attention to.
Okay, so we're throwing around this term AI agent. But what does that actually mean? The easiest way to think about them is as digital humans. They're AI systems that can think, act, and even collaborate with each other. And they're all powered by a brain, which is usually a large language model, or LLM, like the one that powers ChatGPT.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll kick things off with the big picture, the agentic AI revolution. Then, we'll get practical and build our first agent, peek under the hood to see how they work, assemble a whole team, and finally, learn how you can direct your new AI workforce. All right, let's dive into section 1, the agentic AI revolution. This is a really big deal because it represents a fundamental shift. We're moving away from just asking AI to answer our questions and moving toward empowering AI to actually go out and achieve goals for us. You know, the thing that really makes agentic AI special is autonomy. These digital humans, they don't just sit around waiting for your next command. Oh no, they can come up with strategies, carry out complex plans, and work together. And they use a powerful brain, something like GPT-4, to make all those decisions. Okay, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and talk about building your very first agent. It's actually way easier than you might think. But hold on. Before we jump in, I want to point out one critical first step that trips up so many people. Getting this right is going to save you a ton of frustration. Okay, this is super important, so listen up. This one tip is going to save you a massive headache. A lot of the older tutorials out there, and heck, even some AI coding assistants, will give you the wrong command to install Autogen. The framework split recently, so PyAutogen is the old way, it's out. The correct, modern way is pip install Autogen agent chat. Seriously, write that one down. All right, so once you've got the installation sorted out, creating your first agent is kind of like the hello world of AI. It's super simple. You just define what's called an assistant agent, connect it to a brain like OpenAI's models, and give it a task. It's a really cool way to see the magic happen for the first time. So we've built one agent. But to really appreciate why Autogen is so dang powerful, we need to pop the hood and take a look at what makes it so fast and efficient. So you might be wondering, how can a whole team of these agents juggle tasks without getting all tangled up? The secret sauce, really, is its asynchronous, event-driven architecture. This is a core feature that makes Autogen just incredibly powerful for handling complex workflows. Let's use a simple analogy. Think about making breakfast the slow way. The synchronous way. You'd start the coffee, stand there, wait 3 minutes for it to finish, then, and only then, would you pop a bagel in the toaster for another 2 minutes. The total time, 5 minutes, all because you were waiting around. But what's the smart way to do it? The asynchronous way. You start the coffee, and at the exact same time, you start the bagel. They run in parallel. Now your total time is only 3 minutes, which is just the length of the longest task. That's the magic of Autogen. It doesn't waste a single second waiting when it could be working. Now, this whole idea of efficiency gets really interesting when we go beyond just one agent. Because let's be honest, the real magic of Autogen is in building a whole team of these things. And this is the central idea, right? A single agent, kind of a generalist, is pretty smart. But a team where each member is a specialist in what they do, now that's how you solve really complex, tricky problems. That's real power. So how do you organize this team? Well, a really popular and super effective way is called a round-robin team. Think of it like a high-tech assembly line. Each agent has one specific job to do, and they do it in a set order, passing the work down the line to the next specialist. Let's make this real. Imagine you want a team to write a story for you. You kick it off with a prompt. First up, the plot agent maps out the entire story. Then it passes the baton to the character agent, who brings the characters to life. And finally, the ending agent steps in to write a killer conclusion. Each one builds on the last.
Okay, but having a bunch of autonomous AI agents running around begs a pretty important question. Who's in charge here? How do you direct this new workforce? And maybe more importantly, how do you tell them when to stop?
And you're right to be concerned. What if they just keep going forever? Get stuck in some crazy infinite loop, running up your costs and never actually finishing the job? It's a valid fear.
Well, the answer is something called a termination condition. This is your stop button. It's a simple rule you set. You can tell the team, hey, stop after 10 messages, or you can set a timeout. Or, and this is really useful, you can tell it to stop when a specific keyword like approve shows up in a message. And get this, you don't have to just sit on the sidelines. You can actually insert yourself into the team as a human in the loop. It basically lets you jump in as a sort of human manager to give feedback, make corrections, and guide the team to the finish line. All right, let's do a quick recap. First, Autogen lets you build teams of these awesome collaborative digital humans. Second, remember to always use the right installation command, Autogen/agent chat. Third, that asynchronous design, that's its superpower for speed. Fourth, a team of specialists will always beat a single generalist. And finally, and this is crucial, you are always in the driver's seat using termination conditions. And that pretty much wraps it up. So now that you've got the basics down, I'll leave you with this question. What's that one big, complex, time-consuming task that you would hand over to your own personal AI workforce? The possibilities are, well, they're pretty mind-blowing to think about.